Hey y'all. Okay, so the George Floyd's family has gotten an independent autopsy, and the results are back. And it does show that he died of asphyxiation, okay, and sustained pressure on his neck and back from Derek Chauvin. So thank God that they got a second autopsy, all right, because that's good news. Hopefully, Derek Chauvin's charges will be upgraded. It says Floyd asphyxiated by sustained pressure. An autopsy commission for George Floyd's family found that he died of asphyxiation due to his neck and back compression when a Minneapolis police officer held his knee on Floyd's neck for several minutes and ignored his cries of distress. The family's attorney said Monday. The autopsy by a doctor who also examined Eric Garner's body found the compression cut off blood to Floyd's brain, and weight on his back made it hard to breathe, attorney Ben Crump said. He called for the third-degree murder charge against Officer Derek Chauvin to be upgraded to first-degree murder and for 3 other officers to be charged, which they need to be. They all need to be locked up. The family's autopsy differs from the official autopsy as described in a criminal complaint against the officer. The autopsy included the effects of being restrained, along with underlying health issues and potential intoxicants in Floyd's system, but also said it found nothing to support a diagnosis of traumatic asphyxia or strangulation. Okay, which just that right there screams cover up. Okay, so people do not be naive. Don't be naive. Floyd, a black man who was in handcuffs at the time, died after Chauvin, who is white, ignored bystander shouts to get off him and Floyd's cries that he could not breathe. His death, captured on citizen video, sparked days of protest in Minneapolis that have spread to cities around America. The official autopsy last week provided no other details about intoxicants. Intoxicology results can take weeks. In the 911 call that drew police, the caller described the man suspected of paying with counterfeit money as awfully drunk and he's not in control of himself. Crump said last week that he was commissioning the family's own autopsy. Floyd's family, like the families of other black men killed by police, wanted an independent look because they didn't trust local authorities to produce an unbiased autopsy. The family's autopsy was conducted by Michael Baden and Alicia Wilson. Baden is the former chief medical examiner of New York City, who was hired to conduct an autopsy of Eric Garner, a black man who died in 2014 after New York police placed him in a chokehold and he pleaded that he couldn't breathe. Baden also conducted an independent autopsy of Michael Brown, an 18-year-old shot by police in Ferguson, Missouri. He said Brown's autopsy, requested by the teen's family, didn't reveal signs of a struggle, casting doubt on a claim by police that a struggle between Brown and the officer led to the shooting. Chauvin, who was also charged with manslaughter, is being held in a state prison. The other 3 officers on scene, like Chauvin, were fired the day after the incident but have not been charged. The head of the Minneapolis Police Union said in a letter to members that the officers were fired without due process and labor attorneys are fighting for their jobs. Lieutenant Bob Kroll, the union president, also criticized city leadership, saying a lack of support is to blame for the days of sometimes violent protests.
Sure, I don't know what to say.
When asked to respond, Mayor Jacob Frey said, for a man who complains so frequently about a lack of community trust and support for the police department, Bob Kroll remains shockingly indifferent to his role in undermining that trust and support. Frey said Kroll's opposition to reform and lack of empathy for the community has undermined trust in the police. Governor Tim Walz announced Sunday that Attorney General Keith Ellison would take the lead in any prosecutions in Floyd's death. Local civil rights activists have said that Hennepin County Attorney Mike Freeman doesn't have the trust of the black community, They had protested outside of his house and pressed him to charge the other 3 officers. Freeman remains on the case. Y'all, this is exactly why anytime, anybody, y'all hear, it don't matter the race, okay? I'm gonna tell y'all something. Anybody of any race, all right, but especially if you are a person of color, okay? If you are brown and you're in a situation like this, when you have a police officer, okay, a white police officer, or any type of situation like this, when you have a person of authority, all right, and they kill a person of color, y'all always get that second, third, or even fourth if you need to, autopsy. You get it until it is right. Because this right here is nothing but a complete cover-up. This is what they're trying to do. They're trying to cover this up. They're trying to cover up the fact that they can't cover it up because we saw it. We saw what happened. But they are doing everything they can to make their department look good, to make the police look good, okay, and for this man right here to get off, all right? Very rarely do we ever see a police officer being charged with murder, all right? Usually it's always like a manslaughter or battery, never murder, all right? Never. And a lot of times it's so, the thing is though, is never this many people fighting for this. This man right here, he's not going to get off with it. He's not going to get away with it at all. It's too many people fighting for this. You know, they cannot hide it but so much. So thank God that George Floyd's family did, go get another autopsy. Okay, but it is very, very, very important because y'all know just as well as I do, and the ones that don't know, that's why I'm telling y'all to inform you. But the ones that do know, y'all, we already know how they like to screw around with the autopsy results and stuff like that when they're trying to protect someone. We've seen it done multiple times. All right, and sometimes it's hard to get, sometimes it's hard to actually prove what happened because you'll have people constantly covering things up. But this right here, it flat out says he died from asphyxia and pressure to his back and neck. This man right here clearly killed him. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He killed him. And that first medical examiner, I don't know, or he, she, whatever it was, I don't know what they had going on, but they were completely wrong. How do you not see that there's damage to his neck? How do you not see that? How do you not see there's damage to his spine and his throat and his spinal cord? You should be able to see that because the next person did. If this is your profession and this is something you do all the time, you should know what's what. And they love to throw in, potential intoxicants, okay? First of all, we see this all the time especially when there's a racial situation like this, okay? When a black person gets killed, the first thing they want to yell is, oh, they were drunk. Oh, they were so intoxicated. They had drugs in their system and all of this, okay? That's what they always want to say. Now, who cares? I could care less. I don't care if Mr. Floyd had drugs in his system. I don't care if he was highly drunk, highly intoxicated. I don't care what it was. That's not the reason why he died. That has nothing to do with this man right here putting his knee on his neck. Nothing at all. Nothing. So all of that is irrelevant. All that is that's a tactic used, okay, to form a stigma, like to form a stereotype around black people, okay? That's why they keep using the same things over and over. They do these things to try to make this race look bad. And it's ridiculous, and a lot of people fall for it instead of waking up and realizing what is really going on, So it don't matter what he had in his system, but he sure didn't look drunk. And he could have been drunk, but he wasn't so intoxicated to where he couldn't control himself. I mean, I didn't see that. I don't know if anybody else noticed it, but I didn't. I mean, when I saw them taking him from the car to the sidewalk, he didn't look so intoxicated to me. And I feel like if he was that intoxicated to where he couldn't control himself, I mean, we would have seen him, quote unquote, resisting arrest, right? I mean, doesn't that make sense? I mean, if normally when someone is intoxicated, they start getting a little more defensive. That's when you can start expecting them to start, not fighting back, but resisting. That's when you would see them maybe resist. Mr. Floyd looked very compliant to me. The only thing I saw that he did that was going against what they were doing is asking this man to get off of his neck and begging for his life. That's the only thing I saw that he was going against what they were doing. This man was trying to kill him and Mr. Floyd was trying to save his own life. And he's not wrong for that. I mean, he's begging for his life. And that's what's so heartbreaking about it. He did not deserve to have his last moments like that, pleading and begging for his life. And I just, it's sad that Mr. Floyd died any type of way. He shouldn't have died. There was no reason for him to die or anything. He should have still been alive right now. He should have left the store, or if he committed a crime, he should have gotten arrested or something and went to jail. But this right here should have never happened, And but the thing is, though, to spend your last minutes of your life begging for your life, that's a treacherous way to die. It's really, really sad. And that nobody should go out like that unless you deserve it. Unless, like this man right here, he deserves that, okay? Because that's what he did to him, and he deserves exactly what he did to Mr. Floyd and more. He deserves more than that for his actions and his ways and everything else that he's ever done to hurt all these other people that he's hurt, all these other black men. It's ridiculous, but thank God that they did find out the true cause of death, and that all we got to do is just pray now that his charge does get upgraded, and hopefully they'll get the other 3 officers, and we'll just have to wait and see and pray for that. I don't know, but this one right here, he deserves everything that's coming for him. So y'all, I just wanted to let y'all know about the autopsy results. Thank God they came in. Y'all leave your comments and feedback below. If y'all would like to send me anything, you can do so in my email, or you can add me on Facebook and send whatever you like through there. The links are down below. If you want to add me on Twitter, the name is the same, BeachBeauty35. And until the next time I talk to y'all, I love y'all and have a wonderful day. God bless you and stay safe.